Welcome back. This is Crypto Rolly, the crypto watch that never stops. Live technical analysis, price predictions, and trading. This is not financial advice. Do your own research, trade at your own risk. These are my own ideas and opinions on the market. All right, that being said, things have cooled off a little bit. We could be forming a bit of a bull flag, or we could be forming a local top. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, looking at the cryptocurrency market. The volume on Bitcoin has tapered off just a little bit, 848 million. We can see that most of the coins have lost a little bit of value. Bitcoin SV up 2% today, EOS 2%, BNB down 4%. So, like I say, mostly sideways as a whole. And we'll talk about Bitcoin SV briefly. Crypto Fear and Greed Index is at 55. It's pretty neutral. Which, if we're starting a bull market, that gives us plenty of room to get more greedy before we have a serious pullback. Okay, so neutral, nothing too much to talk about there. If we're looking at the Bitcoin dominance dropped hard as the altcoins were pumping harder than Bitcoin. So you had larger gains in altcoins. That's why the dominance of Bitcoin has dropped. We have a bit of a range here, you can see, with these yellow horizontals, and we bounced off of that here as we are going sideways. Now, if the Bitcoin dominance starts to travel back to the top of this range, you will see either that could be Bitcoin dumps and the altcoins dump harder, or Bitcoin takes off and leaves the altcoins behind. That's two different types of scenarios. We will see when the time comes, okay? Let's look at what do we have here. We have our shorts. The shorts are still rising. We were at an all-time low and continuing to rise. People are starting to think that maybe we'll get a pullback. And let's look at the longs, all right? Longs are still dropping off. We haven't seen much of an increase in the longs yet, so that could show that possibly people are losing a little bit of faith, or they took their profits and everyone's waiting on the sidelines. All right, so Bitcoin SV is the news that everyone's talking about. Craig Wright claims he has access to a Bitcoin fortune. Keyword here is, well, two keywords. He claims access. So basically he says he has the addresses, but he hasn't said he has the actual Bitcoin. So there's a big difference there. I mean, anyone can look up, addresses. So I don't know. My main concern here is basically this whole rally here was the Iran conflict. And then the Iran conflict kind of slowed down, so we saw a slowdown in the price. And then this week we had the Bitcoin SV 100% pump. The whole market pumped, and that took us from here to there. But if Bitcoin SV is the cause of this pump this week, I don't like it. I don't like Craig Wright being the catalyst of a major crypto pump. That's just my own opinion. Who knows? Maybe this will spark another catalyst. Maybe next week will be something else. So you never know. I'm just saying I'm cautious here, okay? So looking at the 4-hour real quick, it looks like we're forming a little bit of a descending triangle on the 4-hour. You would have a horizontal bottom here, and you can see you have the wick. And then we're coming down. We have a descending trend line. So if we do break below here, we could look for potential levels, targets. What are we looking at? Well, we have this trend line coming up here. You had a touch. So maybe if we drop, we'll come down to touch it somewhere around here. If it's a harsh drop here, if it's a slow bleed, maybe it'll come here. Where is this red line coming in? Well, if you do a Fibonacci retracement from this low to this high, your 0.236 is at 84.30 coming in, which would also be the top of this local top, which, you know, could be a possible, let's say, resistance flipped support if we land here and find support. See, we had, once we broke above it here, we found a little bit of support and then took off. So that could be a, you know, an area of interest. Otherwise, you have your 0.382 at 81.29. This is the BitMEX chart, 0.5 78.86, and your 0.618, the golden retracement, 76.42. The 76.42 is also an interesting level because that was the top of this. So, you know, that could, and also you have your bottom support here. So, you know, if you came down here, this was support there, this was resistance here, so a nice resistance turn support still, okay? So we are looking for pullback options. However, you know, this could be a bit of a bull flag. And, you know, with the patterns, you can draw patterns however you like, which doesn't make them very reliable. So say that this is not a descending triangle, maybe this is more just like a range. We could draw it even like this, and you know, possibly we're just filling out this range. And if you would break, if you close a 4-hour candle above here, we could be looking at possible bull flag. Where would the target on that be? Well, let's draw our pole up, and we'll drag this pole, put it here, and that would give us a target about 93.50. Where does 93.50 line up? Well, let's zoom out with the daily. Take a look. 93.50 comes right around here where you had a lot of trading. You had basically, you have this box. I would say this would be a nice resistance box. We can throw it in real quick. Let's throw a rectangle. So anywhere in this region could be a target if this was a bull flag, okay? So let's go back over to my Bitstamp chart, and we'll go out to the weekly. On the weekly, let's look at our moving averages. We're still above the 21, looking good. We do want to find support above the 21 EMA on the weekly to continue the bullish narrative. That would be something, you know, that many people are looking at, so that would be good to hold. However, you can see here, we did in 2018, we closed above it, and then the next week we dropped below. So we will see in a few days what happens with that. All right, similar to the yellow 21 on the weekly, we have our middle Bollinger Band coming in around 83.74. A close above that would be nice. Possible continuation into the bullish zone on the Bollinger Bands. Your resistance is coming down at 10,459. Okay, let's see. Ichimoku clouds, anything interesting here? So we bounced off the bottom of the cloud. We're still trading within the cloud. We came up, hit resistance on this blue line here. The blue line resistance is at 86.87. We're currently trading at 86.67. So we could see a rejection here and then fall out of the cloud. But if we're bullish and we close above the yellow 21 EMA on the weekly, the middle Bollinger Band on the weekly, maybe above this blue line here, we could continue within this cloud, okay? Just different scenarios there to look at. Let's take a look. Our Stokes are still rising. I should probably put my RSI back on real quick. Take a look at that. RSI. I've been showing this on repeat, but we broke out of this downward channel on the RSI. Also pretty bullish. Something I want to point out, I saw someone else talking about, and I do watch other people's stuff sometimes just to see what everyone's saying. I don't like looking at too much because too many voices is too much noise and can really mess up your trading strategy. So anyways, what I was looking, so everyone's talking about this downward channel and that we broke out of it. And depending on how you draw it, yes, we did break out. However, 2018, if you exclude all of this price action and you're only looking here, people were drawing this downward trend line from this top to that top. you can see it. We'll even go to a daily. It will look even cleaner, I believe. Let's go over here. All right, you can see we had two touches, 1, 2, then 3, and we came up, kind of got rejected there, and then once we got above it, people were like, "Oh, it's a breakout, it's a breakout," and then we dumped hard. All right, so you know, these diagonal trend lines cannot be the most reliable. More reliable would I would say would be the horizontals, and you can see actually at the top of here we had a resistance, a horizontal going all the way across, and this created the support line here, and then a resistance flip there. You know, so it's important to look more at horizontals, I would say. This horizontal support going all the way back to 2018 came across support, it was resistance, we got above it. So we could look to fill out a range in here. So if we do get a pullback, you know, if we started forming a range in here, would be nice, and then we could continue our ascent. But looking at the daily and the weekly, we still have lower highs. We have a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and lower high. So to be macro bullish, you want to get above this resistance, form support over here. So not only you would flip this as resistance to support, but you would also get above this high, and we could start talking about higher highs. But before we get to that point, if we got a pullback here, came down, you would have a higher low, and then maybe we could get a higher high, higher low, higher high. That would be healthy. Okay. So moving on, let's take my drawing tools off. Before I take the drawing tools off, we have this nice little ascending trend line. You had support, and maybe it'll come into play down the road, and maybe we can meet it down here. Maybe this is where we'll find support. So keep this line in mind. All right. RSI on the daily is not completely overbought, but we are reaching that territory. We did get rejected right here for the time being. You know, you have a bit of a rising wedge on the RSI, you can see. So would it be normal to have a pullback? Yes, it would. Also, our Stokes are pretty high up. It looked to cross down, and then we crossed back up, but we are pretty high. And if you look at this, let's look at where you would want to long. Looking at the daily stochastics, okay? So we were pretty low here. Say you long down here with the cross up. That was here, and then it came up here. You'd have a bit of a nice little profit, and we had a little bit of a pullback and a cross up, and that's where we took off here. And then when we had the cross up here all the way to there, we had that move. Okay, the cross down here all the way up here, you had that move. So ideally, getting a Stoke cross from the lower region would be more ideal for a long. Okay, we're pretty extended here, so you know, looking for a long up here, you might get a little bit of a move. I showed you the bull flag move, but I don't see this going too much higher. Honestly, you know, there's potentially more room to fall than go high in just the short term. Okay, that's why I'm not too eager to long. All right, and you know, if I do short, it's, you know, I'm going to be very cautious as well, because we are acting pretty bullish. So I'm not going to start talking about 5K or 6K until we have some more price action. But my point is, this is a very cautious region. Okay. Moving on, trying to go quickly today. Let's see our moving averages. So also we have the 200 simple pink moving average coming down. We do have a downward slope. If you look back here, we had this area and this area look pretty similar, not exact, but they don't have to be. We came up, got rejected while the slope was still rising, and then we had another rally. Slope was falling. Well, this looks almost similar to that. This pump was a little excessive, so we did get it back above it. But right now, the slope is falling. Not the best thing to see and this could act as resistance here. So the 200 simple moving average is coming in at 9,073. That could be a short-term target if we do get a pop. You want to see us get it back above this guy, okay? But to the downside, your 200 EMA is coming in at 8164. Right here, this was where we broke out, so a retest here wouldn't be out of the question, and your 10 simple is at 8280. So there is room for a pullback. There is room for a pullback. On the Bollinger Bands, we did hit a little bit of resistance here. We are trading back beneath the upper band. On the Ichimoku cloud, we got above it. It was a nice close above the cloud here, and then next day we came back underneath the cloud and then came back above and closed again, so that looked good. And currently we dropped below and then pushing back above again. The top of the cloud is at 86.87 and we are at 86.74, so just underneath it. It'll be interesting to see if on this daily close in about 5 hours, if we close below the cloud or we close above it. I did say a couple days ago, oh, it would be nice if we closed above here and then just found support here. That would be nice. Okay, so we'll have to follow up and see what happens there. Our Stokes are pretty high. I'm pretty sure I already said that. So let's go on to the 12-hour. On the 12-hour, you have room for a pullback. This blue line is coming at 82.85. Top of the clouds at 8,000. This whole area would make sense if you for a support region, breakout, retest support. Your Stokes are pretty high as well. And if this is confirmed as a local top, you have bearish divergence here. You have a high, a higher high, but then you have a high and then a lower high on the RSI. However, this is not totally confirmed as a local top. If this is a bull flag and this goes up, then the RSI could go higher as well. But it is starting to look like a little bit of bearish divergence may form on the 12-hour. Let's move over to our moving averages. On the moving averages, you have the 10 simple coming up to 84.72. So that would coincide with the top of here, kind of our breakout point here. So that could be an interesting area possible for support as well. Otherwise, your 377s back here at 81.62. Yellow 21 EMA 82.35. So again, I'm looking at this region as a possible bounce zone. All right. Bollinger Bands probably lining up same region. Yes, Bollinger middle BB same region. Okay, so guys, this area wouldn't be out of the question. Let's go to the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we are hitting the Bollinger Band middle Bollinger Band support, so it's no surprise that we're finding some support temporarily. Is this going to give us enough power to push higher? Possibly. The top of the band's coming at 9,043. I think that's same area that the daily 200 SMA was coming in. Same area possible. Well, no, I think the bull flag was a little bit higher. So we will have to see what happens there. Our moving averages. So we did close beneath the 10 simple. We came up. It's been acting as resistance, and we have bounced off of the yellow 21 EMA once, now twice, trying to get back above the 10 simple. We'll see this 4-hour close in about 45 minutes. If we can get back above the 10 simple, we might have a little bit of pump, but we're going to have to break this. Not that, but we're going to have to break this right here, this horizontal resistance here. This is just too much there. I'll delete that temporarily, and we can either draw this line like that, and we can draw again. I showed this at the top of the video, but just so you can see how these things line up. The bottom of this support lines up nicely with the yellow 21, and if we break below here, then I would assume somewhere down here, which also lines up with the downward trend line that I have drawn on the Bitstamp chart. If we break above here, maybe some continuation there. Okay, So that's that. That's that. Ichimoku Cloud. Let's see. Ichimoku Cloud, we have room to fall. Support down here, 84.71. Next area would be 82.14. Again, same region in here would make sense. Do I have anything else to show? I think that's pretty much it, guys. To wrap it up, let's just look at the Heikin Ashi. It's a good trending indicator. Let's see. Heikin Ashi. Okay, Heikin Ashi has kind of been going back and forth as we have been going sideways. Let's take a look at the 12-hour. Excuse me, guys. 12-hour has turned red. So, we'll see how this 12-hour candle closes. But if this is a pullback, we could see a few more reds start. If this was just a bull trap, then we might get a series of reds coming down as well. So just keep your eye out on that trend. However, on the daily, we still have the green. Okay, so nothing too serious. Just this is definitely an area to be cautious in. And that's it for now. Keep your eye on this this range right here. Base your trade off that. You can break this level. You're looking for some downside. Break this level. Possible upside. All right. Thank you guys for watching. This is not financial advice. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, all that good stuff. This is Crypto Rolly. Thanks.